There are 4 reasons why people hate running, and they have nothing to do with personal taste, lack of motivation, or training level. As a matter of fact, if you have done any of these mistakes, then it's 100% reasonable to hate running exactly as I used to. In this video, I will present the 4 actual reasons why people hate running, and at the time of this recording, I have never seen anyone talking about them. I'll close the video with some practical advice on how to overcome them and how to shift from hating running to loving it. Also note that this video is a part of a series where I'm gonna be giving some practical advice on how to approach your training in general, so make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out. To make my 4 points more understandable, I will be comparing the training process of running to the one of strength. For my first point, I'll start with an example. On your first strength training day at the gym, it's pretty clear that you should not try to lift 100 kilos on the back squat. Apart from the fact that it's pretty obvious you wouldn't be able to do it anyway. For most people, on their first leg day, doing some air squats would probably be enough to give them a nice training stimulus and a good pump. Some of course would be able to train harder than others, but on a scale from 0 kilos of a beginner to 200 kilos that well-trained athletes can lift, the lower end is a reasonable place to start. So no one can walk into the gym on their first day and squat the same weights that well-trained athletes do, not even for 1 rep. Running is totally different. The problem with running is that almost anyone could run at the pace of a well-trained athlete for a couple of minutes or so on their first day. And by the time they realize they chose the wrong pace, it's already too late. To compare it with strength training, for a 30 minutes run from a scale of 6 km per hour of a beginner to 20 km per hour of a well-trained athlete, many untrained people could run with a pace close to the upper range for some seconds or minutes. However, their body cannot support this speed for more time. So the big difference with strength training is that anyone could start a 30-minute run with a well-trained athlete's pace, even though they wouldn't be able to sustain it, whereas no one could start a strength training session with the weights that well-trained athletes do, not even for 1 repetition. This can be extremely misleading, and most people arrive to a dead end on their first running session. So let me give a hypothetical scenario of what would normally happen with Yannis on his first day of running. Yannis starts with something that most of us think as a reasonable running pace, which is a pace that looks like moderate running. After all, he's here to run. This pace though is probably between 7 to 10 km per hour. Yannis' goal is to run 30 minutes. What he doesn't know is that although he can start with this pace, in order to keep going for 30 minutes, he needs at least a few weeks of training and preparation. However, he starts with a fast pace just because he can. What happens next is that his body quickly shifts from the aerobic energy system to the anaerobic energy system, meaning he consumes the small amount of energy that is already stored in the body rather than producing energy from oxygen. This stored energy is quickly depleted and running becomes a living hell because the energy used cannot be quickly replaced. Soon everything feels hard. The breath increases in an uncontrolled way, his lungs feel like a small fire has started inside and he is feeling the need to stop. But guess what? He has been running only for 4 minutes, so he decides to push it a little more. He puts on his favorite song and increases the volume to motivate his effort. 30 seconds later, he is forced to stop. He officially knows that he hates running. These exercise traumas reasonably lead you to hate running and probably make you wonder what is going on in the minds of the people that like this. Do they just like to suffer? Trust me though, casual runners don't feel any of this stuff. After this half attempt to become a runner, I've seen people conclude they are incapable of running, they are not built for running, or they just don't like running. Although this might be the case and anyone can choose to just not like running, I've seen all these categories of anti-runners change their mind by changing their approach with the simple tips that I'll present here in this video. Also, remember that our bodies are basically designed to run. To say that we're not good in running is like for dolphins to say that they're not good in swimming. This is not to say that you should definitely like running just because your body is designed to do it, because humans might be able to do a lot of things that they choose not to do or don't want to do. I'm just saying that most of the time, when people have a natural tendency for something, they more often like it. So as long as you are a human, You have proved that you have a natural tendency for running, and you definitely have the prerequisites to run and be good at it. You just need to avoid the common mistakes I discuss here. So reason number 1 for hating running is choosing the wrong training intensity, which sets you up for a horrible experience and failure. This creates a traumatic experience that will prevent you from running. So what should be the intensity of your first running sessions? If on your first day at the gym you did 3 sets of air squats, on your first day at running, a reasonable amount of intensity and duration would be close to 6 km per hour for 10 to 15 minutes. This speed is less than many people walk, so you should be going so slow that someone walking fast on the side of you will pass you. And why do it this way? Because the purpose of your first running session is not to burn calories or test your limits, but to get a small idea of what running is, test your capacity and joint health, increase blood flow, and give a small stimulus on your respiratory system that will generate the first adaptations to training. Remember that running is the upgrade of walking. So on your first day, you want to have a really small activation of your respiratory system that will barely make you sweat. Moving on to reason number 2, which is that in running, you can't fix a wrong choice on the same day. So let me compare it again with strength training. If you choose to do 10 repetitions bench press with 50 kilos, while in reality you are trained only for 40 kilos, you will just stop at 6 repetitions. After a small rest of 2 minutes, you can change the weight to 40 kilos and continue with the rest of your sets. You'll be able to both correct the mistake and do the rest of your training, and also know the right weight for your next time. This happens through the feedback that you get from your body, which in strength training is pretty fast. This doesn't apply on running though. For beginners, the feedback from your body comes only when it's already too late. By the time you start feeling the exhaustion, your body has shifted mainly to the anaerobic system for its energy demands, and most of your stored energy has already been depleted. You'll need hours to recover from this, and you won't be able to run more during that day. So, in contrast to strength training, when you first start running, and especially on your first day, you have one shot to estimate the correct intensity, and if you miss it, you go home. This way, you won't continue your training, nor be able to estimate the correct intensity for your next session as you could do in strength training. This can be really frustrating, and in my experience as a coach, most people don't know about this. So, reason number 2 is that you can't estimate the running intensity by the feedback from your body, and when you finally do, it's already too late. Reason number 3 is one of the trickiest, and for some reason, I haven't seen anyone talking about it. In strength training, bad technique most of the times makes the exercise easier to do, although it reduces the results and injures your body in the long run. Bad technique on the deadlift will make it easier to lift the weight, and the same thing applies to many other exercises. This doesn't apply to all, but for the majority of the strength exercises. So when you first start your strength training, bad technique might hurt you, but it will most likely make your workouts easier. In running, however, the worse your technique, the harder running is. There's no way to cheat running like cheating the bicep curls. The distance you have to run won't change no matter what you do, so you're going to go through every meter anyway. And of course, on your first running session, you have also the worst technique of your running career. If you don't know how to use your arms, how to push with the legs, and how to place your feet on the ground, then you're sabotaging yourself. So reason number 3 is that in contrast to bad strength training technique, bad running technique will make your running harder and harder. And reason number 4 is going on a run with the wrong mindset. In strength training, a short workout with few sets will be enough to trigger strength and hypertrophy-related adaptations. In the first day of running, a short, low-intensity run would be enough to trigger endurance-related adaptations, but not so much to burn calories. To be able to run at a pace to burn a significant amount of calories, you'll need weeks, maybe months of training and preparation. In other words, if you're going on your first running session with a mindset to burn a ton of calories, then you're attempting to do something that is impossible on your first days. It's like cooking for the first time with the expectation of creating dishes that will amaze Gordon Ramsay. It won't happen. Having unrealistic goals is the #1 reason for losing motivation. Even more, focusing only on the result and not on the process will never make the process pleasant. So, reason #4 that people give up running is going on a run with unrealistic goals that are impossible to fulfill on their first running sessions. I always suggest start running with an attitude for discovery and curiosity. Focus on increasing your temperature, understand what you're feeling, and collect data to plan your next session. To sum up, start with the lowest pace that could be considered running and aim for a small amount of time. Have some kind of idea and awareness of running technique before you do this, and try to practice something small and easy on your first run. Focus on feeling well, increasing the temperature, and activating your entire body. Don't think about calories or testing your limits on your first days. Focus more on understanding the process and finding ways to enjoy it. After all, you want to stick with it for a long time. So that was the video. I really hope that you found it helpful, and if you practice these steps, let us know about your progress in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.